I think I've done more ultras than I've done training runs this summer.
Yeah, no, I had known that, and that's kind of what shocks me is you don't train.
Why don't I want to keep going? Why don't I want to take another step? Why is this so bad? Like, is this really where I stop? Like, it leads into the rest of life, you know? You do hard things and it makes it easier to do other hard things.
Yeah, true. Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long-Term Podcast. I'm your host, Advin Villa. Today, we have ultra marathon athlete Jaden Bissonnette Demers. We will discuss running, pushing through the pain, and self-growth. I met Jaden on my first attempt at 100 miles at the River Edge Ultra, and he's this very positive guy. And when I asked him what he did for training, he told me he doesn't really train. And I thought that was just the most baffling thing ever. And yeah, we go into his thoughts and mindset and why he does ultra marathons, and it's a very fascinating episode. Everyone, welcome to the Long-Term Podcast, man.
Thank you.
Jaden Bissonnette Demers.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, sweet, man. So yeah, bro, how's your day?
Good. Yep. Feeling recovered finally.
Yeah, how long did it take you to recover from the 100 miler?
Say the day after was pretty bad. I was quite stiff everywhere, but like 2 days after I started feeling good. Like I was able to run a little bit again. Not the best, definitely not a sprint, but it's getting better at that point.
Yeah. No, but it's fascinating to see how fast the body can recover, bro.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at first it took me like 3 days before I'd feel normal again. And now it's like, you give me 1 day.
Walk fine.
Yeah. It's just the blisters, like those take a lot longer, but.
Yeah. So yeah, man, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, been passionate about running for a little while now. I did my first ultra roughly 3 years ago. Probably almost 3.5 years ago, something like that. And I don't know if I like it all that much, but I keep showing up at least. So don't know. It's a cool sport. You get to find your limits, and I really enjoy that part about it. Of course, it is a struggle getting through like 20 plus hours of running, but looking back on it, it's enjoyable for sure.
What do you get out of it?
A lot of blisters, bit of joint pain. No, but I find it'll make other things in life seem easier though in comparison, right? Like when you can tell yourself, oh, the other weekend ran almost 100K. I could get through this day of work, you know? Makes it's weird to say, but it's like it sets the bar lower for what makes a good day, you know? When you put up with,
and when you go through the motions of the low lows.
Yeah.
And then there's the high highs.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure anybody who's ran an ultra or even a marathon, we know all too well the mental battle that we have. Oh, I want to give up, but then you don't, and then you override that system. But then a thought pops up, and then you try to distract yourself, and then you try to take the strategy of being more in the moment. But then that works for a while, but then you tackle it from a different route. And you had mentioned that anything after an ultra is much easier. You look
absolutely.
back and you go, yeah, but like this is tough at work, but I literally ran 100K.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know your your PR is 108.
Yeah, it's 108 now. I am looking to push that. It's not that much in terms of ultra running standards.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah. We're still kind of in the inception of the ultra marathon kind of growth and peaks.
Yeah,
Usually
absolutely.
people peak out at like 60, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey, it's like I think in hockey, the peak age for a hockey player is somewhere around 27. Whereas in ultras, that's usually when people will start running, really,
Yeah.
if not later. And then you
Like-
peak out, it seems, I want to say 40, 50.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with that. If it's just over the years you accumulate a lot of grit, just from life, and then you get better over time.
Do you ever hear a lot of people tell you that they would like to take up running, but it's bad for their knees?
I've heard a lot of that, but oddly enough, like, yes, there's a lot of joint pain while running, but I found I have less joint pain now than before I started ultras. I don't know what's up with that, but no, I've definitely heard about it. I just, from personal experience, I don't know if it's exactly true.
Yeah. I think thinking about how bad it's going to make your knees while doing it just intensifies it.
Oh,
like
surely.
There's this book, it's called The Expectation Effect. And the first chapter of the book were these maids that just went about their day. But a perspective shift of telling them that they were exercising, doing their job, just gave them better biomarkers, just better health by believing a certain way.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that with ultra marathons, for me, when I go about training or even going about a race, and when I think that I'm already going to be injured, I'm just more likely to be injured. I can't really explain it. I'm sure there's some sort of scientific evidence to back this up, but
Placebo's powerful.
Yeah, like your mind is the most powerful thing in the world, at least for our own reality.
Yeah, it's wild. I always go into it thinking the best case scenario is going to happen, but I try to prepare more so for a worst case scenario, right? Like you almost have to expect to have toenails fall off. I've never had that, fortunately, right? But that's one of those things, like, you have to prepare for it. But when you're running, you can't think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, if it happens, it happens, right? But you can't just like start thinking, oh God, I'm going to have a toenail fall off. Oh God, I'm going to get so many blisters. Oh no, my knees are going to hurt so bad during this. Oh no, my ankles are going to swell up, right? Like, these are things that are absolutely inevitable, but you just can't think about it, It's a very odd mental battle in its own to just remain positive and stay outside of, keep your thoughts away from the constant, like, you just get constant reminders of the pain you're going through in these races, right? Every footstep at some point ends up hurting. And like, you're well familiar with that, right? And you just can't think about it.
But that's the beauty of it, though, is we are so used to being in comfort and actually actively telling your body, hey, it's going to be okay. Sure, you're going through this, but it will heal. You will recover, and you keep pushing. And that's with any facet of life, with work, with relationships, with ultra running. That's really how you get through things, is just being consistent. And sure, your body feels like it's on fire. It's not that you're ignoring it, but you're choosing to direct your mind to the task at hand. Because if you catastrophize, oh, that your knee, it's going to fall off, or oh, that blister, it's getting worse. If you hone in on that, if you fixate on that, you're going to trip on a branch, and you're going to trip on the root if you're trail running. And that's going to set you back so much, and you won't be able to finish with that mentality. And then you see this with a lot of ultra runners, is you have to talk to yourself in a certain way, right? And you talk about kind of being positive, and that's what you need to do to get through this. Like, because the negativity, it'll come. Like, you're going to want to give up at kilometer 10, 20, but then there's 80 more kilometers, or depending on what race you're running. And that's just the reality of these races.
Yeah. Have you heard there's one guy I ran with, he asked me once, like, oh, are you an upper or a downer with running. And some people, it seems they get motivated by, some people get motivated by negativity, and some people get motivated by positivity more. But when you look at Goggins, though, it's very, like, I think he's a downer.
Yeah, I feel like there's this question that comes to mind of, are you running towards something or are you running away from something?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
is it fuel driven or is it fear driven, or is it like you want to run towards it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'd say it's a mix for me. Like my mind goes to, okay, I do this for purpose and I want to inspire people, but at the same time, I'm running away from my problems and I'm just doing it. It was a way for freedom. What about you? How do you go about it?
Like, the more I'm thinking about it, I've got to agree that it is definitely mixed, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as, oh, I signed up for this thing. I said I was going to do this. Oh, no, like, I've got to keep going, because otherwise there's a certain amount of embarrassment, right, from quitting too early.
I've told all my friends, all my family members. Yeah.
There's that, right? But then there's also the, like, oh, it's a beautiful day. It's sunny. The weather's nice. We were really lucky on that race that the weather was very, very nice. And even in the night, it wasn't too cold, but it wasn't, like, it was just a good weather all throughout.
And if you push yourself, you'll never feel cold.
Right.
Like, yeah. Especially on those elevations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was told that when you're running, you need to dress as if it's 10 degrees warmer than it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even in -10, if you really push yourself, you will not feel cold.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can even go shirtless when it's -10 if you're going quick enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Wim Hof is testament to that. You know that guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's an animal.
He's one of those guys with the mind again.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. What inspired you to start running and how did you progress to ultra marathons?
It's very accidental. I started off when I was younger. I played soccer a lot, and that's what I loved. I would just go, like, I probably played, like, I think I had practices like 3-4 times a week and then a game on the weekend. And then whenever I didn't have practice, I'd be quite often going to the soccer field, or, like, in between seasons, I'd just go to the soccer field, and I've definitely spent 10-hour days just shooting the ball, aiming for the crossbars, hoping that it would come back to me, and otherwise it's just run to the other side and go grab it, you know? But then I kept getting my my shoulder injured. It would dislocate all the time, and I would just, something as little as shooting the ball, it would pop out, and so I was pretty much just
It
done.
was really sensitive.
Yeah.
So was this just the constant kind of motion of running that put it out of place, or what kind of movement was aggravating it?
Largely shocks.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So, like, just the shock from shooting the ball, that would pull it out. And I'm not sure, like, exactly what was going on with the science of it, but I think I've had probably around 15 dislocations on it.
Wow.
There was a lot.
Was it because of a big injury that happened prior, or was it
just always dislocations? Yeah, it would just
genetics?
pop out. It could be. Could be. Like, I've noticed I'm quite flexible. Just all my joints are a bit like, they're a bit looser, you know? So it kind of explains to some extent why my shoulder would, like, the muscles just weren't tight enough to keep it in the joint, right?
Okay. Are you still able to do push-ups and all that?
Oh yeah, I can do push-ups, pull-ups. It's pretty well recovered now. Like, it's been almost a year since it's dislocated. The funny thing, though, is that when your joints are loose and you get something like a dislocation, it's almost like it's not that bad of an injury, because your joints being so loose, they recover quickly from something like that, you know? Like, it'll like, when you dislocate something like a shoulder, you're stretching the muscle, right, to the point where it's out of place. Now it's not in the regular position. The muscles are lengthened and they stretch out more. But when you're already quite flexible, it's almost like the joint's kind of used to it to some extent, right? And so I would recover quite quickly. Like 2 days after, it wouldn't even hurt,
Okay.
if that, right? So it's just annoying because it's a lot of hospital trips, right? That's the downside of it. I wasn't lucky enough to be able to just put it back into place on its own, but I would recover quite quickly, and I can do pull-ups, push-ups. Doesn't matter. Like even my job is quite physical, and I work overhead all the time, which is normally not a position where you would want like a weak shoulder to be in. But I haven't had issues. It's been working out pretty well so far. Hopefully, it keeps going like that. But I ended up having to go for surgery on it, and before the surgery, I pretty much just gave up soccer, and the closest thing I could do to play soccer was just run. We would run laps around the field, and the classic cardio training when I was playing is just run laps around the field. And so I started with that, and we would just run 10 laps at practice. Well, I stopped doing practice, but I would just go run 10 laps on my own. And I would just do it slower than at practice. And I eventually realized, like, oh, 10 laps isn't that bad. So I started pushing it. Eventually I got to 20 laps, and 20 laps around a soccer field. Like now gets boring. It gets quite boring. There's not much going on. So eventually started going trail running. And then like pretty quickly I was like, okay, I can do 20K. Cool. So I just kept doing 20K. And then one day I'm feeling good. Oh, it turns into 25K, turns into 30K. And I was just doing that quite regularly. I think it was I want to say like a month and a half or 2 month period. I ran like 450 kilometers, which was quite a bit for back then. Like, of course, a regular ultra running training plan, you would do about that. But I just happened to do it by accident. And I think it was March 4th, 2021, I want to say. That was my surgery date. And on March 1st, I went and I just told myself, okay, like this is probably the last run I'm going to do in a long while. So I'll make it worth it. And I got past 30K and I was still feeling good. I was like, okay, well, like I guess I've got 12K to go before I hit a marathon. And then
Yeah.
that just happened. Did a marathon and then went for surgery, and then I couldn't do anything for another 3 months, which was driving me absolutely crazy. Just in a sling all the time. So once I finally got out, I went and ran another marathon, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I guess maybe I should sign up for a race at some point or something. Like I can't play soccer anymore, but this thing's
So
not so bad.
after you fully recovered, you went and ran another marathon length.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. I can't quite remember the dates for the second one. I just remember my first one. But yeah, I don't know, kept going, kept running, and then
Hmm.
I looked it up on Google, like races around here, and I stumbled across Survivor Fest in Sherwood Park, where it's a 24-hour race, and I had heard about that from Goggins' book, right? And I thought, God, this would be a hell of an event to try out. And I ran 85K, so I got a double marathon on my first year, and I just kept going.
Dude, that's incredible.
It was very accidental.
I don't think it's an accident at all. I think what was your self-talk like, or what is your self-talk? Is it, you got this, keep going, you're a beast, or is it more like Zen, like, oh, like chill, like you be in the moment? How does that work?
In the beginning, it was very quite depressive, I have to say. It was like, hey, my dreams were crushed. I can't play soccer anymore. I thought that was gonna be my passion for my entire life, and then that's gone now. And I say I ran with a lot of anger in the beginning, and that's actually like that's what pushed me. I don't think long term that's a good solution. That's not good self talk in the long run, but it got me through the start, and eventually I started seeing the light,
Mm,
and my self talk got a lot more positive, but it took a long time.
yeah, certainly from getting at the start, anger may be a good fuel to get you out
Mm-hmm.
and going,
Yeah.
but long term, it's depleting, and
Mhm.
maintaining that rage inside. And I'm the same way when I'd be wronged or I'd be frustrated, then I'd take it out to the gym or I'd take it out on the runs. But what ends up happening is just, sure, you can push more, but long term it's not sustainable.
Mhm.
And you break, whether it be mentally or physically. It doesn't relax you.
No, no.
Uh, so can you walk us through the most challenging race you've ever completed? What made it stand out?
Okay, I would say it was the second year of doing Survivor Fest. So again, the 24-hour loop. So it's just a 1 mile loop. Part of it's on a track, and then part of it's on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And so the year prior I did 85K. So I thought, gosh, okay, I'll try to do 100. And it's like everything was going wrong. It was just so hot during the day. I can't remember the exact temperatures, but it was definitely over 30. And I really didn't get much ground covered over the day.
And you were telling me your knees were hurting initially.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, so when I started running, I had so much knee pain, and I'm very lucky. Like that's gone, and I think it is from a lot of running. But yeah, my knees were hurting, ankles were swollen, so many blisters, and my self talk just wasn't going well. It was like, gosh, it's so hot right now.
Yeah.
Not feeling good. I'm hurting.
Might as well do it next year.
Yeah.
I decided I wasn't prepared for this. This sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of like just very, very poor self talk. And I can't remember exactly where I got to, but at some point, probably around 70, or I don't know, maybe later, it was like beyond 70K. At some point, I started doing, I started just walking with this lady, and the conversation was nice. It was just distracting. It got me in a more positive state. And then eventually I was able to start running again. Well, I don't even want to call it running. I was like limping.
Yeah.
I was just hopping around, but then I don't know what happened. It was just one of those beautiful moments where I was like mind, body, spirit just aligned, and then I started running again, and I had I think a bit more of than an hour of just solid running, and I got my quickest laps from the entire race in the last hour. It was crazy. And I was shooting I got to like 90K, and I had, I didn't think that I could make it get 100K, but I gave it an honest effort. I left what I had on the track there. I got to 97K, which is pretty good. Like it wasn't 100, but that's pretty good. Like I have to say, I left it out there.
Pretty much there. Yeah.
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 And yeah, like I didn't hit the target, but at the end, like I knew there was nothing left in me. I felt my knees and just started vomiting. And I remember this lady came with my medal. She put it around my neck, and then I just immediately turned around and vomited.
David Goggins has this quote of, if you think you're at your wit's end, you're at 40%. Keep going. So when you were at kilometer 70 and you were walking around with that lady and you wanted to give up, and even at the start, right, you were already being tested and you had already wanted to tap out, but you didn't. And before you know it, you're at kilometer 97, and you see kind of the mindset of, oh, I got this, but then you're at the low points, and then another mindset of high points, and that's just the ebbs and flows, and you just roll with it, right? You just welcome it, because the moments you choose one and you just stick with it, it's tough to maintain that strong heart, right? Especially when everything's in pain and you're discombobulated and it's plus 30 and there's always a next year. But then again, sorry, there is no tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what I always think of. Okay, sure, I can do this again and be better prepared. But I'm going to think, if I choose that mindset, I'm going to think that way all the time. And if I think that way all the time, then there's always an excuse.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah, like you'll never wake up one day and go, these are the perfect conditions. Right now it's time to get started. It'll never be the perfect conditions. That's what I found. And ultra marathons is probably the best example of this. There's always going to be something. Like who has this time to allocate like a couple days right? To be able to heal, to recover, and to be able to drive there and prepare yourself mentally, and then like leading up to the race too. It's there's a lot of hype. You're talking to your buddies, but then you sit down for a while and you're kind of doubting yourself, and then there's more hype. And the next thing you know, you've told everyone, and now you have to do it. There's no backing out. Yeah. Like leading up to the 100-miler, I think what really stuck with me too is I've told everyone, man, like I gotta finish this. And kind of the most crushing feeling is realizing that you're not gonna finish. It's so crushing. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, you've done more than the average person, but it's just still, internally it just hurts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you structure your training to prepare for such a long distance for your races?
Yeah, so that's a tough question. That's a tough question because I'm a bit of a meathead with this sport. I think I've done more ultras than I've done training runs this summer.
Yeah, no, I had known that, and that's kind of what shocks me is you don't train.
No, I didn't. I didn't train much. I think I did one 30-kilometer run outside of the ultras this summer.
Yeah.
Maybe like another one, like maybe a 20K at some point. But you need regular training to actually prepare. Like that doesn't mean much doing that.
That's fascinating, man. I mean, for those of you listening, I had met Jaden in the 100-miler River Edge Ultra, and we were conversating. And when I had asked him what he did for training, he's like, "Oh, I don't really train," and that just like blew my mind because here I am every day, man. I'm conditioning myself. I'm weightlifting 5 times a week. I'm going 5Ks pretty much every day, 200 floors, one long run each week, sauna, cold shower. But this guy did more than me.
No, but you're smart about it though. Like long term, that's gonna pay off, right? I don't know why I'm doing this.
Maybe you're just bred differently. So, does that not scare you though? Like when you go about these long races and you've set the goal high, does it not scare you? Oh, what if I'm gonna injure myself? And going back to kind of the thoughts, do you kind of just not think about it?
It's weird because when you approach an ultra, if you want to finish it, you just need to know in your mind that you've finished it, right? And so even though I haven't trained much, in my mind, I see myself crossing the finish line. And throughout the race, I just maintain that. Like I've just visualizing crossing the finish line. That's going to happen. Of course, it doesn't always happen, right? Like if I prepared better, I would have finished that one, right? But I just keep that in my mind, and I have no stress the night before. I sleep no problem. I wake up going to the race. I got my coffee, no stress. We're good. I'm just going for a run, And then throughout the entire race, it's just looking forward to being out in nature, having conversations with just random runners, right? And I do my best to not think about the distance. I just think about, oh, these birds are beautiful. Oh, wow, these trees are the trees are beautiful. Oh, wow, look at the sunrise. It's gorgeous, Just having thoughts like that the entire race is what keeps me in it. it distracts me from the pain. I don't listen to music. That's another one I find helps me out a lot. I used to listen to music, and then it was this summer at Sinister 7. It was so hot. I think it was around plus 35, and my earphones just kept slipping out from the sweat. So I just didn't end up listening to any music, and I became more in control of my thoughts because of that. I didn't have a distraction, and I was able to just maintain a positive attitude, and I just kept that going. Just no music, got to be happy. And yeah, like proper self-talk goes a long ways. I think training is probably still superior to that. Like I definitely should train, but you know, you do
you're
what you
also
can.
working a hell of a lot from what you've told me. So that in itself could be why you've persevered too. And I'm sure a lot of things in your life, aside from the ultra marathon, has helped. I'm sure kind of the support that you get from your friends that did come and your attitude towards it, that's all part of it.
It's huge. Seeing familiar faces is the best feeling ever.
I think that's, sure, you don't train in the kind of the sense of putting kilometers in, but you are going to work, and you are the no stress the day before. That goes a long way. Good sleep and kind of the little mental shifts and additives that you've added, such as no music too, goes a long way. Like for me, not having music is liberating, because you get to really look at yourself, right? Because when you're running and it's 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, and especially when you're not talking to someone, your mind goes somewhere, and you get a true self-reflection onto how your life's going about. It's like, am I doing enough? And lots of these questions arise, and it's uncomfortable for people. That's why they always distract themselves with just video games and music, and there's been studies of people getting locked in a room, right, with their permission, of course, and there's like a buzzer where it shocks them, and most people like to just shock themselves instead of just being there with their own thoughts, because it's uncomfortable. I've heard of that study. You get to see, you get to really look within and realize, hey, it's kind of ugly in there sometimes, or oh, I need to be talking to my dad more, or I need to be putting in more effort. I need to be more optimistic. And without music, you realize that your mind is made up of so many things there, that you have so many flaws. Like that's what I've realized. Even running it, I get to realize that, oh, I am the cause of certain afflictions, and I don't need to be unhappy all this time. What can I be doing more of? Right? It's
when you break your mind down, like throughout these miles, and just that from that self-imposed suffering, you really get to see the holes in your character. And it's a very nice time to reflect.
Yeah. That's probably why you keep coming back, though.
Yeah.
Because you get to realize just how flawed and how much you can be doing. I think that's why a lot of people do these feats of strength, is because they grow with each passing race, right? You just grow exponentially, I found. And the attitude towards the run as well, talking to people like you, like you're going through your own battle, but then kind of the smile on your face and kind of the talk of positivity certainly sobers me up when I do talk to the mom there, or like the dad who's 50 and they have their own reasons, and I go, oh, like I'm not the main character You know? Yeah. But
No, it's nice.
definitely.
I don't do this for health.
Mhm.
I don't.
Oh, this is not healthy.
No, it's all. Yeah,
No.
it's not healthy at
Yeah.
all. Like it's
Yeah. If you want to be healthy, you do 5Ks and
right.
then
Yeah.
stretching and meditation work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. I'm not in it for health. I'm in it for those tough conversations with myself. I just want to grow. And I find this is such a great avenue to self-reflect. I haven't found a better way. Like when you're hurting, you really get to see what you're made of. And when you finally get to ask yourself, like, why is this so hard for me? You can come up with those answers. Like before the race, you don't know what challenges are going to come up, and you're also not in the state of mind to see what your mental hurdles are. It's only when it's right in front of you, you get to identify, you get a clear picture of what it is, right? And a big one with this is just it's just maintaining that will to keep going, right? And it's you get to see like, hey, like why don't I want to keep going? Why don't I want to take another step? Why is this so bad? Like, is this really where I stop? Like it's only 24 hours. I can put up with anything for 24 hours, but then you're there. Why don't I want to keep going? Like, what's going to happen when life gets difficult, right? When things are actually like this is self-imposed torture, really. But what about when life just takes you out, and you're faced with so many challenges and it's not in your control. You've got to find that will to keep going. What do you like? What's left in you, Like those are the times where you really get to learn. But this practicing being in tough situations I'm sure is a great help for when life actually does get tough. There's a lot of parallels. I don't want to say like running is an exact metaphor for life, but there's certainly a lot of parallels, like you just got to keep going. Everybody's life gets tough at some point. You can have like a 10-year stretch of things are good, and then all of a sudden you'll get hit with something, right? Whether it's I don't know. Like, well, for me, it was like life was good. I was playing soccer, and then I got my shoulder dislocation, and it just kept happening. Life got tough, and I wasn't ready for it at the time. And I just don't want to be put in a situation where I'm not ready to embrace a good fight and embrace the difficulties in life. I want to be ready to keep going. And I'm just priming myself, getting myself in the right mind state to be able to push, take another footstep,
Whether it be the death of a loved one, going through grief because you had dreams of being a soccer player, whether an illness comes, it's always something you least expect. And for me, I always think of the barbarians are coming. Like, you don't know if they're going to come tomorrow. You don't know if they're going to come next week, next month, next year. And these barbarians, they're not just the traditional sense where they've got the sword and armor and then they're just going in the front. They'll dig if they have to, and they'll drop in missiles, or they'll come in and they'll have invisibility cloaks. Now, is your castle, is it well armored? Is it prepared? Do you have the sensors in place? Do you have the foundation laid out so that when they are digging, they won't be able to get through the defense? Or did you squander all that time preparing? Like, did you just play video games for 12 hours? Did you just mistreat your family? Are the people within that castle, are they well equipped? Are they on your side? Or did you invite some of the barbarians in? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I love this metaphor.
Like, they will come, and it could be 40 years of your life, everything was great. Now, chances of that happening are very slim, but it will come. And if you have been complacent, if you just let life happen, if you never had any effort of trying to change your life and take charge, whether it be in the physical sense where you push yourself, you do these ultras and you discover yourself more, or whether it be the educational sense where you go for those exams, a PhD, or the finance of things where you do save up and you prepare for the times where the barbarians come. And ultras, for me, those thoughts arise. Like, can my loved ones, my friends, the people that I care about the most, that I would die for, can they rely on me, or am I going to be the one relying on them? And it's really like, there's this question that gets that I've heard from Modern Wisdom, another podcast, and it's, who would you call if you were in like Guantanamo Bay, if it still existed, and you were falsely accused? Who can you call and rely on and expect them to get things done? I want to be that person, in my family and my friends, where they call me and they expect results, right? There's no, sure, like a lot of things in life, there are so many things that are out of control. I'd argue majority of it. But if you create a reality where you are prepared for the unexpected, then you can be a better leader. And that's definitely something that I've been wanting to sharpen every single day.
It's huge.
Yeah. Because life happens.
Oh yeah, it'll knock you down.
Yeah. And like, I've heard lots of my friends are social anxiety is pretty big. I know depression. I know just death of loved ones. You've seen this in COVID with how people interact, finance of things now. As a Gen Z, it's tough to be out there and to fend for yourselves. And we've gone really soft. And I think kind of driving that effort and having the calloused mind, as David Goggins would put it, is certainly a way to catapult ourselves to freedom. Like, when you go to war with yourself, that is when you find peace.
Oh yeah. You get to do a lot of work on yourself, and that only happens when things get tough.
Yeah, man. Like, how do you mentally cope with pain and fatigue during ultra marathons, especially in the toughest moments?
Well, obviously, I'm no expert in it because I pulled out of that race, right? And
you gave it your all. And I'd say, bro,
in the moment, it felt that way, but post race, I just wonder.
I know, like the day after, like, I could have gone more.
Yeah.
But we always, that's the thing, right? We can't go back in the past.
Yeah. I try my best. I always end up forgetting this, but I signed up to be at that point. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the entire point of it. It's to get to that point and finally get that opportunity of pushing past the difficulties. It's such a, like, realistically, this is a huge opportunity where you get to expand on your character. You don't develop yourself when it's easy. Like 5K in, what mental work have you done at that point? It's good for your body, absolutely. But I don't think it's calloused your mind yet, It's only once you're really hurting, that's where you get a fantastic opportunity. And it's just flipping it into a positive. I think that's the key to coping with it. But it's tough. I forget, at some point my knees are screaming too loud and I can't even hear my own mind, right? But I try to remind myself. For me, that's been the best so far, but I don't know if you've got a different way about it. I'd love to hear it. I'm just
I think pain is a big teacher.
It is.
Rich Roll. Have you ever heard of that guy?
Rich Roll, yeah.
Yeah, he talks about just, it teaches us to be able to be more compassionate and loving towards others. Because if you can still have this positive attitude, even though there's that ambient feeling of everything is on fire. Like, if I can go to meet up with my buddies And despite having everything going wrong, I'm still able to present myself in a respectful and loving way. Then I'm strong. Then they can rely on me, and I'm calloused. And that means that in the times where I do feel good, it's just so easy to be compassionate and understanding and empathetic, And I think that to go about kind of the pain of the ultra marathons, if I can tell myself that, and if I can truly internalize being positive amidst the chaos, then I know I'm growing. And it's that constant reminder. And you just gather more tools of gratitude, of just being in the moment. And people chuck that out like it's, to be able to be happy in life, you got to practice just gratitude, to be able to practice kind of being in the moment. It's so tough to be in the moment and to practice gratitude when every fiber of your being is on fire.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, no, I'm thankful for the suffering. No, like when your knees are it feels like they're just going to pop out. Like that's like one of my biggest fears, where one step and boom, it's just right out. And that threat in my head, but still maintaining, like having a conversation with you on there and like looking around and going, wow, life is beautiful. That's what I'm trying to go about. And will I have that 100% of the time? Probably not. But can I access that now that I'm just comfortable? We're just having a conversation. I'm better. It's better. It's easier to access that when I'm just chilling.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
I wonder though if there's a point where to progress in this, it's just like you just almost have to put that I don't know what it is, because like you're hurting so bad and you can't even, like, when there's that point where you can't even control your own thoughts, do you overcome that through practice, or are we just gonna have to put up with that? It's just keep going even though you can't even though you've got terrible self-talk.
Yeah.
I wonder what the older guys go through, the older runners.
I wonder if they're more in pain or they're just better adjusted. I always, because you hear about them talking about it, but in their faces it looks so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, since we're just young and naive in the sense.
I remember at Survivor Fest a few years ago, I just couldn't believe it. There's this one dude, he had his finger all wrapped up, and he didn't start the race with his finger wrapped up. So like that's something that happened later. And overnight I ended up talking to him for a while, and I asked him like, hey, what happened with your finger? And he was like, oh, it was so stupid. It was like 7K in, I tripped and dislocated my finger. And I was like, oh dude, like why are you still here, man? Like, don't you have to go to the hospital or something? He was like, yeah, I was thinking about it. And then I wrapped it up and I wanted to quit for about 15 minutes, but then I was like, hey, you know what? Whatever. I'm here for this. It happens once a year. Come on, get over it. Yeah. And then he was there the entire 24 hours. I'm not sure how far he went, but
yeah, but he still got through it.
He's hurting though.
Yeah.
He's definitely hurting. Like, it's not just his knees at that point.
Yeah. I wonder, was he running away from something or running towards something? That's why I always wonder that with the ultra athletes that I run into. Because it can be an addiction, man. Like, going through it, it can be toxic, right? Like
I'm sure.
This entire mindset can be used against you, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you just sacrificing your entire family, or your health? Like, is it like, sure, we talk about growth and we talk about realizing pieces of ourselves and being able to recognize the flaws, but there's also kind of the dark side to ultra running where, okay, everything isn't accounted for, but yet you still choose to put in time at the ultra marathon Even though your marriage is failing, you got no friends, you got no.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah. And I was talking to my buddies, and they're all very encouraging about like when I tapped out DNF. That was at 86 kilometers after that Homestead loop, and
double marathon.
yeah. And they had told me that, hey, like, good job. I'm still very proud of you. And a lot of my friends did that. And in my head, like, even after quitting, I was still upset. But in my head, I was still very content because, like you, like, buddies showed up, right?
Oh, yeah.
They were there they didn't have to. Like, they actually showed up there, and it was 3 a.m., man. Like, these guys have, like, could be out.
There's a certain amount of guilt, right, from inviting people. It's like, gosh, I need them here, but I feel so bad.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't fun for them. Like, but then they tell me it's
for
fun.
Like 4 hours.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, but in my head, when I did finish, I thought, I didn't finish the race, but I won friendship. I already won before I started because there's these people that believe in me and I believe in them. And I wonder if there are people who run this for no reason, just because they feel like it. And then they forget that friendship, the connections that we have, are the essence of life, Like, definitely. Like, I told all my friends, like, hey, I didn't win. I didn't finish, right? I DNF, which I'm very sad internally, but thank you for coming. This means more to me, you showing up, than finishing the race.
Yeah. That's true. Like, you really get to see, like, wow, I've got some good friends.
Yeah.
I've got some really good friends.
Yeah. They showed up, and that's why we keep coming back too. Right. And then we're the talks of, join me in the next one.
Yeah.
That's always the funniest thing. Yeah. I don't know. It's just,
you're kind of nuts, man.
Yeah, you're nuts. You're crazy. I love those talks. There's even talking to your buddies. I'm like, why don't you guys join Jaden out there? Like, are you crazy? Yeah. What strategies or techniques do you use to push past physical and mental limits during a race?
I don't know. Like, well, there's the tactical stuff, really. Like, okay, I'm gonna prepare well. Just gear is huge. Having moleskin, it's like this tape that you put on your blisters to reduce friction.
Is it like K-tape?
Is K-tape the one that you would put on?
Yeah.
No, it's a different kind of tape. That's another one though. That's good to bring because that can support your legs quite well. Painkillers do help a lot. Oh yeah. Like Advil, Tylenol is like candy during those races, really.
Yeah. And you had that magnesium.
Yeah. Magnesium's huge. A lot of people seem to not care for it, and they do fine without it. But for me, it's huge. I cramp up without it. Just electrolytes on their own. I think there's just not enough magnesium for me, at least. So I need that. That helps to not cramp. Especially you can take supplements, but magnesium, it's like, it can make you drowsy a bit. But if you take it topically with a cream, you apply it directly where you need it, and it doesn't make you drowsy. Yeah. So I really like it that way. What else is there? I used to bring knee braces because my knees hurt so bad, but I don't experience that as much anymore. Poles are a giant advantage. You can just distribute your weight. It's important to not use them too early on in the race though, because you can tire out your arms. So like, I definitely try to at least go like 50K before using them. What else is there? Caffeine can help a lot, especially overnight. I find the year that it helped me the most was 2 years ago at Survivor Fest, because I went 2 months without caffeine before the race, just to use it.
Your threshold would just be reduced drastically.
Yeah. So that was huge, because caffeine does, it does dehydrate you, right? And so if you can consume less and have a greater outcome from it, that's a huge advantage. And then honestly, probably the most important is having familiar faces around, having good friends. That's honestly one of the best things, especially overnight, having people there. Like when you get back, that's really good because you'll be running for like 4 hours. And I've done it before where I had no crew overnight. It sucks. Like you do a loop and then you're back and you go through your own gear. And just like once you stop, it's like, why would I want to get going again?
Yeah, I got nobody there at the finish line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely friends. And I smiling.
Oh yeah, smiling's huge. Yeah, just smiling. There's it reduces the feeling of pain, right?
Yeah,
I think there's science behind that.
Yeah, like the idea of fake it till you make it, and you could have a really bad day, but then just smiling just to yourself, and just even if you don't feel it, the more you do it, just the happier you are. Even if you're not happy, you're just uplifted. I've definitely leveraged that. I've
It's
developed
huge.
like crow's feet just from smiling so much. I could see you too. Yeah,
that's a good thing though. That's a good thing.
Good sign, man. Like I love whenever I meet someone and if they got crow's feet, I'm like, I want to be around this person. Yeah. This is a good guy.
Happy people.
Yeah. Have there been moments where you thought about quitting? How did you overcome them? And this is not just ultra marathons, right? Anything.
Yeah. Of course, there's so many instances where that happens. Just remembering what the big picture is probably the best thing, right? But it's just with these races, what I've noticed though is that like remembering the positive in stuff is only so good as long as you can still hear yourself. I guess when things are really bad and like, well, let's take running again, for example. When things are really bad, just got to remember that like it's not going to kill you. You're going to make it out on the other side.
And even if it does, you tried your best.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
You know what? If it does, good job. You went to 100%. How many people get to say that they went 100%, you know?
And I asked myself that, and like, did I try my best? And if the answer is yes, then I'm lying.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't be alive, right?
Yeah. Like to actually try your best fully, that means that you had to use every single opportunity and with all the drive and energy. But we're imperfect as human beings. There's always going to be something that holds us back. And it's always our minds.
Yeah.
Always our minds.
Yeah.
And I want to read you this the David Goggins quote that I love him so much, man. Just most wars are won or lost in our own heads. And going back to what you said about like going into the race and you had already pictured it in your head that you are going to finish. And then also adding in that you are enjoying the progress, because without the enjoyment of the progress and you're just picturing that the whole time, you miss the point. Because 99% of anything is the progress. It's only like less than 1% is the result, right? If you don't take the time to enjoy the birds or the leaves, or the mind, when you don't introspect, and you just are so caught up in, oh, I need to finish. Sure, that's great. You can put that as an objective.
Yeah, like it definitely helps, right? Yeah, it's a tough one, right? To balance that. I think that's probably a big reason why I don't stress about it, because especially on the 100-miler there, like I wanted to finish, and I did visualize myself crossing the finish line, but I didn't stress because at the end of the day, you gain more from the run than you do from that finish line. Like you're saying, it's a lot more valuable. It's well, okay. What's that line? I love it so much. It's something along the lines of the man who loves walking is going to go a lot further than the man who loves a destination.
Yeah. Because you can get bogged down by all these mental afflictions, and you can work so hard and grit your teeth, but then you tap out because it's just so heavy. But then you got the guy who's doing the same thing. He just finds it fun.
Yeah.
Like he's got a smile on his face, and like maybe you got veins popping in your neck. You're putting so much pressure on yourself with this endeavor, whether it be about running or swimming or just studying.
Yeah.
Like, but then the guy who's just, I just do this for fun, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That the guy,
It's like, relax, dude.
the guy that's doing it for fun will win 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly I see that with people that are that want to be something versus just doing something because they like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I try to only tap into those thoughts about the finish line closer towards the end. In the beginning, it's just like stay happy, enjoy it, right?
This is what you find fun.
Yeah. For whatever reason.
The other people might think it's psycho.
Yeah.
Right? But this is.
But hey, like what a good skill to develop. Like I didn't like it at first, right? But I learned how to turn something that objectively sucks into
you
fun.
Can trick your brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's crazy what that self-talk can do. Because the more times you tell yourself, the more you'll like it. Like I don't like green tea, for instance. I used to hate green tea. I just didn't like the taste of it. But like any acquired taste, when you tell yourself about the health benefits of it, how it's going to reduce fat, the antioxidants, eventually it just becomes part of your routine. You just like it.
Yeah.
What other
placebo?
Things? Yeah, the placebo, man. It's important.
Yeah.
And
you can go a long ways with that.
Even with like talking to like this podcast, for instance, I used to only talk to buddies or people that had the same mindset, or kind of like the same music. And if you were a certain type of way, I didn't really enjoy talking to you. It was harder. But tricking my brain to go, wow, this guy talking about squash for the 100th time is actually really interesting. And sure, he's a bit disrespectful, but I'm not going to take it to heart. I know he's got a good heart. This actually just happened. Like before I came here, I was at the sauna, and this guy he's unlikable, but I actually was just curious as to what he had to say. And he had like those little quirks, or is this guy being disrespectful? And I can either choose to take it to heart or just be like, shrug it off. He's a good guy. But yeah, I learned so much. And it's that just tricking your brain.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful thing ever.
Yeah.
Sure, you can be rooted in delusion. Like if you look in the mirror all the time and you go, I'm a beast, I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, yeah, sure. Maybe if that helps you, yeah. But you can also just have a better positive mind. Like if anything is a delusion, right? Why not choose a good delusion?
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. You definitely have to be careful with it. Hey, you gotta be careful with what you choose, because you could just become an egomaniac so quickly. Hey.
Yeah.
Just saying like, oh, I'm a beast. Like,
yeah, I'm better than everyone.
Yeah. That's, gotta be careful with that. Really gotta be mindful about it. You gotta,
Don't let the accolades get to your head. Because sure, you can, like when I finished my first 100K, man, it got to my head. Like I was, I'm better. I'm in the 1%, but quickly it dissipates and you just go back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got, man, I remember this was, I think I'd ran 2 marathons at this point, and I went to Elk Island to go for a run, and there's some other dude, he was wearing Hokas. So I was like, oh, okay, this guy's a runner. Those are proper running shoes. I'll just go talk to him. And we ended up running in Elk Island together. And, or sorry, before we left, he was like, okay, well, I'm going to go pretty quick. So like, just, if you can't keep up, like, that's fine, man. But like, you're just trying to have fun here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to keep up, dude. Come on.
Like,
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was running. I am definitely slowing him down. And he must have been so, like, yeah, he was definitely so patient because he slowed down for me. The guy's done so many ultras. And that's where I actually learned about ultras. But man, like, you can think you're good. There's someone better out there. Like, there's no point in getting into your head about it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he would have slowed me down, but I was like, whatever, I'll just talk to him, you know. But no, like, he crushed me, you know, like, definitely in better shape than me. There's always someone out there better. Like, there is no sense in getting in your head.
The goalpost is constantly moving, and if you can't be content, if you can't be happy with where you're at right now, then you'll never be content with where you'll be once you achieve that, because you're constantly looking at the other side and seeing that the grass is greener there when you fail to look at what you have. Like, I've met so many people like that, man, where they have everything, but they got nothing. You know? But then I also meet people who have very little, but have everything.
Yeah.
And like, there's people that are happier than me who haven't done much. Like,
it's a matter of perspective, hey?
Yeah. And certainly going back to what you said about, there's always someone better. No matter how hard you are at something, no matter how good and refined everything may be. But if you choose to look at yourself in a negative light, then of course, it's not going to turn out well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at that as maybe inspiration, or maybe you're proud of them, it's to kind of look at it from, instead of wanting to be that person, it's looking at what you have. And Sheryl Crow has this quote of, it's not about striving for the things that you want, it's wanting the things that you've got. And I think shifting it that way, albeit I'm not the best at it, because certainly I still have the thoughts of, oh man, I'm not good enough, or I need to do this, I need to do that. I fail to realize, I've got family that love me, I've got friends that love me, and I love them back. Really, what else who am I trying to prove to? Like you can finish, let's say we finished a 100-miler, the medal, and then the pat in the back, and then there's more, but really
there's more. There's a belt buckle.
What's that?
There's a belt buckle.
Yeah, dude, it's a nice looking wooden. Yeah. Also, the shirts are really nice.
Oh yeah, it's you.
Yeah. But every time I wear it, though, I don't feel like, I don't feel like I deserve to wear it.
Yeah. I was really into that, you know, like, always looking up, like, oh man, Goggins is such an unreal person. Like, I wish I could be as tough as him. But man, like, after reading his book, I don't know if I envy that all that much. Man, the guy's had a tough life, right? And when you look at all the great successes, the people's backstories, like, it's tough. And I don't know if anybody even really wants those stories. I don't think anybody wants to grow up like Goggins, right? Yeah, he's achieved all this, but
at what cost? Yeah,
right. At what cost? Like, if you take into account that you have to have a really tough section in your life, such as Goggins had, like, do you actually want to have that same mental toughness then? Like, I don't know if it's worth it, you know? Like, may as well just be happy with where you're at.
Everybody wants the prize, but no one wants the process. Like, what did it take to get to this ultra athlete, Navy SEAL, just hardened, calloused mind, inspirational, like, best-selling author? If you read his book, Goggins, his dad beat him. He was bullied. They called him the N-word at school. Everything was stacked up against him. He turned obese, and like, the amount of pain and suffering that he had to endure.
Yeah. Like, do you want that?
Like, do you want that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know if you want to be that person, then you also have to want all their problems.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the reason that person is like that was because they were so used to suffering, right? Like David, they took it on to run all this time and to submerge themselves through agony and misery.
Mm-hmm.
And he's what, like approach 50 now?
He's probably close to 50. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still pushing his body, man. He's dropping out of planes. He's smoke jumping in BC,
Mm-hmm.
fighting fires.
Yeah.
And he does not live an average life for sure.
And it seems so cool. Like where he's at right now, I'd love to do that. I'd love to be capable of it, but the price is so high.
Mm-hmm.
Price is really high. I don't know if it's worth it, but
yeah. But certainly he is a inspiration to many.
Mm-hmm.
And like, to me, when I was going through a tough time in life, man, like I read his book and it just made me look in the mirror and realize just how much of a victim mentality I've embodied. And then seeing this person going through a very miserable childhood and just a bad life, turn it around and use it as fuel.
Yeah.
That's he's definitely a guy I still look up to.
Oh yeah.
Will forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. His lessons are huge. Like, I love the cookie jar too. That one's huge. Yeah. Like, I used it even at the race because, so like the cookie jar is just when things are difficult, you go into the cookie jar and pick up a memory of some time where you did something very difficult, and it's just proof for yourself that you are able to go through with this, right? And it was funny, during that race, I got tattooed the week before, and I was just thinking, okay, that tattoo was a lot more painful. That was a lot worse. I could put up with this. So yeah, it's funny. There's just little things like that. But yeah, he's got so many lessons. The 40% rule is that one blows my mind. I'm just still trying to figure it out, because every time I quit a race, I am definitely at 40%. Because the fact that I recovered pretty decently after one day means I wasn't even close.
Bro, I was walking the next day. I hit a chest workout and I hit floors the day after. If I gave it my all, I shouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
I should be bedridden.
Yeah. Well, you remember Goggins, his first 100-miler, he said he was pissing Coca-Cola. Like,
yeah.
And he crapped himself, everything.
He was hitting deadlifts the night before.
Yeah.
He had shitty sneakers going into it.
He was eating crackers.
Yeah. I went, damn. I wonder. See, there's probably a guy doing more than him.
Oh, there could be, hey?
He's just really good at marketing too. And he's got he knows how to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you there's someone much harder than David.
Yeah, there very well could be. That's an insane thought.
Dude, that's like, he's just, if you listen to his podcasts, if you read his book, like, he can tell a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And versus a person that may be harder, who doesn't have the conversation skills that he has, they're not as recognized, right? So it's not as palatable to us watching it. But dude, that's crazy to think.
Yeah. There's always someone tougher, right? Like, and maybe they're not alive right now. Maybe it was like 1,000 years ago. There was someone tougher, but or maybe it's in the future. There will be someone even tougher. Like, it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, there's someone out there who is born right now or just growing up, and they're going through all sorts of things, whether it be a good or bad childhood. They find something where they just go past the limits. I find that just riveting, man. I find that just so beautiful. But then it's just, as humans, right? We're all interconnected in a way. And like, none of this would be a reality without kind of social media and kind of books and being able to write. And throughout the years, we progress. And if you look at it at an individual sense, Like we're always improving, and that gives me hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how has running these extreme distances contributed to your personal growth outside of the sport?
Yeah, I touched on it a bit in the beginning, right? Like it kind of, in comparison, other things seem easier. That's for sure, right? And then you learn how to cope with difficulties a lot better. Like that's what happened for me. It's just when things get tough, I don't quit as quickly. When things get tough, I'm a lot better at remaining positive for a longer period of time at least. I'm really curious what, like, say I keep doing this for another 10 years, like it'd be really interesting to look back on at that point, right? Like how far it goes, or even having a podcast with somebody who's
Even you're going to look back at this podcast 10 years from now and you're going to go, wow, I was so naive.
yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
That was one thing I was thinking about going into this podcast. Like if I watch this in 10 years, I'm probably going to disagree with everything I've said.
Mhm.
But
That's why it's called the long-term podcast, because I want the people to come back on and see their progression, and I want to keep talking to them about how much they've changed.
yeah.
Like next year we'll have a different pod and we'll talk about kind of Survivor Fast and the 100 miler and compare and contrast.
Yeah.
That's kind of my vision for it. And certainly maintaining that discipline too, and still setting up times and still trying in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. And just year by year, like every year that goes by, if I'm like looking at who I was last year, I'm cringing every time, you know.
Yeah.
But it burns to think about. But would you want it any other way?
No.
Like what if
you're able to fast forward? Right? Then you just fast forward 3 years. Then it's like, then you just wake up and then this is a completely different self with all the different ideas and memories, but you were never there. Like I always ask myself, if I'm at work and the drudgery of it, labor work, or if I'm studying, or if I'm at a boring family dinner, would I fast forward this? And the answer is usually no, because I want to get through those boring times.
Oh yeah. There's beauty in all aspects of life, hey, and it's just, you just can't always see it. But
yeah,
in hindsight, like when we're on our deathbeds, I think I hope I'm able to cherish every part of it.
Bro, I just started reading this book, and it's about this hospice worker, or she worked with people that are almost dying. She cared for them, and she interviewed a lot of them and constructed a book, and the title is The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I read it often, like throughout my days, just to make sure I am doing something that I actually want to. And when I'm on my deathbed, will I regret this? And I got to read you the top 5. I think you'll like this. So it's by Bronnie Ware. Regret 1 is, I'd wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And regret 2 is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Regret 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. Regret 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And regret 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. And I see a lot of people with regret 1, like living a life for them. It's like, oh, a lot of people go to school, or a lot of people just do a certain activity and they don't want to, but it's their parents that want.
Yeah, social pressure is huge.
Yeah. And I think that, like, when you're on your deathbed, I always go, oh, like, did I try my best? Did I live a life of authenticity, or was I just like everyone else?
Honestly, that's a big fear of mine, is when I get to the end of my life and I regret living it the way that I did. That's a big fear of mine. I don't want to feel that at all.
Yeah. And there's all these old people that I love conversating with at the gym, sauna. They seem to, it seems that the sauna is the honeypot for old people, man. Like it seems like it might be just the thing when you get old, or I don't know if it's the causation or it's just the correlation of them going into the sauna, or like is that why they've gotten so old, or like to that age, or is it just when you hit that age you just end up liking saunas? But just talking to some of them, bro, it's the same type of kind of lessons of, oh, like don't take life too seriously. Like, have fun. Don't worry about those things, your problems right now. They're not that big of a deal. And it's that constant reminder, though. But when you're in the throes of it, it's just so much, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You fail to recognize that, oh, like I got a friend who I can just call at any time, or I've got an able body. Sure, maybe it's not the perfect. I've got this injury here and there pops up and I don't have 20/20 vision, but I can go to a superstore and buy a chicken breast and feed myself. I can pick up a box, you know, but once you're at an older age, I always hear about chronic pain and like death and all these things that I know nothing of, that I know it's going to come, but I'm like, why am I obsessing about this small, tiny, minute problem when it's not even that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think of that.
I wonder what, I bet you for our generation, there's going to be another regret. It's, I wish I wasn't on my phone all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big one.
Yeah. I wish I didn't have 8 hours on TikTok every day.
Because we're already regretting it. I hear it from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and realistically, like throughout our lives, if it keeps going this way, we've barely even been on our phones for like add 20 years, you know, add 40 years. How much are we going to be on our phones?
Imagine.
We've barely done it. We're already regretting it.
And no sound mind is healthy going on their phones for more than an hour, you know, in terms of social media use.
Yeah.
I've reframed my way of utilizing it where it's just a memory bank and it's a way I conversate with people and connect. Like this friendship, for instance, it wouldn't have been possible without Instagram or without kind of that. But then using it as a doom scrolling and just having your relationships centered around social media. Yeah. I've seen that and it's not pretty.
No.
Yeah.
It's no good.
Like it's beautiful, but it can be dark.
Yeah. Like there is a lot of potential out of social media, right? Like if you use it the way that you're saying exclusively, a lot of benefits can come out of it, but it's just so easy to use it in negative ways. Yeah, it's tough.
When you're bombarded with all these people living their best lives, right? If you look on my social media, you'll see that, he runs marathons, ultras. It seems like he's happy all the time, but that's so far from the truth.
Oh yeah.
You know, I suffer so much from mental afflictions of just not feeling enough and always wanting more. And even the fact that I want to run ultras could be, you know, it doesn't seem like a healthy person. Like we get it all the time, right? Is Advin or Jaden, are they sane? Like, why are they doing this to themselves? And it's because you want something more.
My favorite one I got is, what is rejuvenating about that?
Send them the link to this podcast. Yeah. What is... They just don't get it.
Yeah. There's a lot of beauty in it. I have no words for it. You gotta experience it.
Yeah, dude. I will never stop talking about ultras, bro. It's just so beautiful. What lessons have you learned about resilience and perseverance through your ultra marathon experiences?
Oh, I don't even know if I can touch all that much on it because like I am just starting, like I'm just
3 years, man. That's
yeah, but I don't know. I don't even know if I've done 10 races by now. Like I might be close to 10, but
yeah.
there's people out there who've done like 50, 60.
Yeah. But that's for later on.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So far it's like, okay, a lot of difficult things in life, they're not going to kill you. Don't over stress about it, Stay positive. Keep in mind just remember what the big picture is, it'll be fine. I've got tough days at work. Like sometimes I'll work 12 hours and it's like the day's getting long, but it's not going to kill me. And I'll benefit for it, so gotta keep moving, stay happy, take another footstep, even if you've got to vomit or whatever,
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
One foot in front of the other.
Yep.
And I think for me too, it's knowing that I'm not in it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's experiencing this exact same thing that I'm experiencing right now. And then when I look at that other person, like, why does it not seem like they're in pain?
Yeah.
It seems like they're smiling. But then I think of myself, I'm like, wait, I'm the same way. You'll never fully know what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm. What really messed with me is the day after the race, because there was a 33-hour cutoff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I bailed at like, I don't think it had even been 24 hours yet. It was more than 20, less than 24. And I looked on their social media page and they're showing videos of people crossing the finish line. It's like 30 hours in. The last one I saw, it was like 5 minutes after 33. So they DNF'd. Yeah, it was like 5 minutes after. They DNF'd, but they crossed that line.
Dude, I wonder what would have happened if we just stuck through. If we just didn't
we probably would
tap
have made
out.
it.
Probably
like that's
would
the
have.
worst thing. We would have made it.
Dude, that Homestead, man, I just looked at the time and I was like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm finishing.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I made that decision of I'm not finishing,
Oh right, yeah.
everything just became more painful.
When did you make that decision? How many kilometers before you actually finished?
When did I make that decision?
Yeah, because you make that decision before.
I've made that decision probably at 80 kilometers.
Yeah.
I made that decision already and I was walking. I was so slow getting to it. But now looking back, it's crushing, right? You go, I could have done it. Like, what if I had just gone through it? Like, what if maybe I would have finished?
Yeah.
We probably would have finished, man. We had a lot of time, bro. We had a lot of time.
Yeah. I got nauseous for a bit and I made my decision. I knew in my mind. I was like, I'll keep moving in case something changes, but like my mind was made up, It's like if my condition's not changing, I'm tapped out. It's done.
Yeah, my mind definitely, as soon as there was various points onto where I thought I had made it, like, oh, this is it, just one turn. And then I realized that it still had more to go.
Yeah, it's defeating.
I'm like, oh, I see the lights. Like that's definitely it. But then that kind of that intersection with what's that one that starts with a W?
Westridge Loop.
Westridge, the intersection.
Yep.
I thought that, but prior to that, there was like 5 times where I saw the light, like literal light, where I thought, okay, I get to see all my friends now. Yeah. That's it. It's great. And then that was prior to reaching that intersection with Westridge.
Yeah. Huh. So
then I hit that intersection with Westridge and I was like, fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm done. I tapped out.
You know what the worst part is though?
What?
From that intersection?
Yeah.
It's only 3K to get back.
Is it?
It's only 3K. It's like the longest 3K ever. It's only 3K though.
Only 3K?
It's
Why
only
did it feel like it was 10?
I don't know, man. That's what it feels like, but it is nothing.
3K.
Yeah.
And then, I know this might be like for for the running scene. You know when somebody passes you and they're like, "Oh, good job, good," but if they passed you once, twice, and you're clearly behind, and they say, "Good job, bro," like I'm like, I feel a little bit disrespected. You know, like I'm clearly not doing a good job. You just passed me twice, and that happened like with those guys that are a lot more hardcore. They're like, I'm clearly gonna DNF soon. I don't know. I think maybe I'm just being negative. Like they actually.
I think they mean it. I think they mean it, but I get what you're saying. It's like
no, but like when I compliment a person that was behind, and I go, "Hey, good job." I feel a little bit better. You know?
Oh yeah,
like,
well they
like
would do, wouldn't
well.
they? Yeah.
So I think it's that feeling of, yeah, no, they know I'm giving in.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is. But it's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Dude. Well, like, you were nauseous. How did that go about?
It was first Homestead loop. After the Homestead, I had 5 pierogies, and that was probably too much.
Yeah.
And then I was
Meatballs?
super nauseous. I didn't have any meatballs.
No,
just pierogies. And
really
then
sweet, hey? The crew there.
Oh yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, very good people.
Mm-hmm.
And I got nauseous, and then I was with 2 other people, and then I started to make my mind up of I'm out. So probably 15K before finishing, I think I already made my mind, just like hoping maybe something would change, but I was defeated already, you know.
Yeah.
There wasn't much to me, but
I wonder if you didn't make that decision. If you like that decision of, oh, I'm not gonna make it. I give up. Like as soon as you make that decision, everything just becomes tuned up higher, and you're in a lot more pain, and you just want to get out.
Yeah.
I wonder, but there's next year, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. You learn.
I call those limiting factors. There's a bunch of limiting factors for these races, you know. You just pick them up, try to solve them, try to solve that puzzle in between races, and
dude. Homestead won't know what hit him next year.
Yeah,
it's just the island too. Having to cross that river,
that was cruel.
That was terrible.
Yeah, because I got so many blisters way too early in the race because of that.
Yeah,
get your feet wet. And sandy.
Yeah, I think I don't want to make any excuses, but I think if they had just put it near the last, then it wouldn't have been realistic too, because then we would have fallen to dark time and crossing that river.
Yeah, it'd be a risk.
Would have been sketchy.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, how do you apply the discipline and determination from running to other areas in your life?
I don't think it's a conscious thing. I think it just kind of bleeds into the rest of life, you know? You just you do hard things, and it makes it easier to do other hard things.
Yeah, true. You ever do cold showers?
I have. I'm not. I indulge in my comforts though.
Yeah,
I've got to say, yeah.
Dude, you have to try them, man. They're good.
Yeah, it's good. I work outside in the winter, and I'm like, oh, that's enough cold. I'm gonna have a hot shower.
That's enough cold. Yeah, that's fair, dude. There's so much to have learned from that ultra, and I feel like looking back, I think we just gave up too quick.
Oh yeah. Honestly, man, it probably wasn't even that bad. Like, was the pain actually that bad, or was your mind just?
It was just the mind
defeated. Hey, yeah. I think that's what it is. I look at it as if there's like 2 meters. One gauges your mental stamina. The other one gauges your physical stamina. And you want to you want these to be full, right? But as the race goes on, they're both depleting, right? Your physical stamina is going down, and then your mind's getting fatigued. And things that hurt so much more when you're mentally fatigued. And I think that's what happens. I think that's what happens with age. These older people at the races have more life experience. They've put up with more difficult things. And so they've trained that mental stamina for like 10, 20, 30 years more than we have. I think over time, when we're older, it's going to be a lot easier. We're going to be those people still smiling at 140K, you know? I bet you that's what's going to happen.
100 milers will feel like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle though, right? Like there's a lot of things that you can do to keep your mental stamina high, but there's a point where it's just
Depleted.
yeah.
And then the rate at which the mental stamina depletes at is exponential.
Right. Oh yeah, it's quick.
Yeah,
It's like a
the
cliff.
physical stamina, it's not as bad.
More
But
gradual.
You're already here with the mental stamina, and then your physicality is still there, and it's never gonna align.
Yeah.
It's never gonna align, and you'll never have a good gauge at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's like it's a drastic drop off. I felt so good on the first half of the second Homestead loop. Or no, the first half of the first Homestead loop. And then after those pierogies, got nauseous, crashed. It took one thing. And then I was like, done.
Yeah.
I give. It's over, you know?
And the euphoric states too. You ever been in the where it's like a 5-kilometer stretch and you're just in absolute euphoria?
Yep.
And you're like, this
There's
is
a crash
easy.
after it, though.
You're cracked out. This is so easy. I'm gonna finish at this time. And then if you could maintain that euphoria, just I don't know, is that even possible?
I don't think so. And I don't know if you've had this, but every time I get euphoric, right after I crash.
Yeah.
It takes one thing.
Ebbs and flows.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes one thing, and then you have to go through the process of rebuilding your will, which is tough.
But then I'd probably gone through the ebbs and flows of euphoria and then like misery, euphoria, misery,
highs and lows,
probably 10 times. And then and it keeps going. The misery points keep getting deeper. You know? Yeah. Well, the euphoria, it seems like it's just kind of the same. You've hit that threshold.
Yeah.
But the misery, it seems like it becomes the swing, the back down becomes deeper and deeper up until you just can't get out of it.
Yeah.
But
I bet you there's some value in like when you're getting euphoric, because it's insanity. Like we're overly fatigued, losing our minds. But I bet you there'd be some value in recognizing, oh, okay, I'm just overly happy right now. This makes no sense. I'm setting my expectations way too high. Like I'm 80K in and I'm already feeling like I'm at the end. I ain't close. Like settle down and just relax a bit so that when a difficult thing comes, it doesn't hit you out of nowhere, right? I find that's what happens. I get overly happy and then you just get knocked down real quick.
It's like hyping yourself up too much at the start is definitely not a good way of going about it, because you're already depleting the dopamine in your system.
Oh yeah.
And then once you're at kilometer 10, then you're just out.
Yeah.
You've already finished the race in your head.
Yeah.
But you haven't done it in reality.
Yeah.
That's why I think not listening to music goes a long way, because you're conserving the feel-good chemicals in your head with dopamine. Are you familiar with that neurotransmitter?
Yeah. You release dopamine by listening to music.
Yeah. And so listening too much of it, that's why I don't listen to music while working out as much, because it depletes you from going more.
Yeah.
And then listening to music in ultras, you're less likely to hit those euphoric thresholds or peaks, because you've already cashed in the music part. So definitely giving your mind time to relax and soothe itself is optimal.
Yeah. Even when I do listen to music, like in the night, especially just to keep me awake, I'll listen to music, but it'll be slower music. I don't want to listen to upbeat stuff.
Bro, I tried listening to Goggins' audiobook, but even that was still taxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just like all your sensory modalities are just wired. Like it's just jacked up. And you're just like, you're in absolute pain. And the the thought of like music, I won't be able to find joy in it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listen to like I'll just listen to country, slow country, like
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Stapleton,
Yeah.
and it's got to
It's
be
chill.
like I have to be able to match my energy to the music because if I'm absolutely exhausted, it's night, I'm tired, and I listen to upbeat music, I'm just gonna hate it. You know, I'm just gonna
It's like,
hate
why
it.
are
I need
these
something a
guys
bit
so
more.
happy in this
Yeah.
like, all I see is misery.
Yeah,
Or
it just doesn't work.
you ever listen to XXX Tentacion? Back
No,
when he
I
was,
don't know.
yeah, like kind of the vibes of like really sad music when you're
Mm.
really sad. Just find that definitely, I think it encourages me to do more sometimes.
Okay,
you know, when
no, I'm on the same page.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
I
where
listen to
I'm
my
like-
sad cowboy
yeah,
country,
yeah.
you know. So,
I'm
but
like,
it's the
huh,
same.
I'm like, I'm getting fuel from this.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
it's weird.
yeah, it's weird. But
No, listen to country about some dude like just got dumped.
yeah,
Is like diving into liquor and all that, and like yeah, that's what's gonna get me through this ultra. But it works better than upbeat music.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing, but it just takes my mind out of it.
Yeah.
Makes me, for that moment, I'm that dude that just going through a breakup. And
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of tactics, bro. One thing that I've been doing during the long races is I like to go through my A's to Z and just going through like what kind of difficult A words that I know, and I like to accolade, anthrax, or like
oh, that's a funny one.
benevolent. I'm like, like it kind of helps dissipate
Yeah,
with time.
any distraction.
Yeah, because even living in the moments, like sure, that's big in the just how to be happy. Because
Yeah.
a person, they've done studies where the people that are thinking too far in the future and in the past are often the most miserable, but the people that are in the moments, they're the happiest.
Mm.
In ultras, it's a different game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like my mind will sometimes take me to just I'm in the moments, like I'm feeling it, but then I'm like, oh gosh, this is miserable, take me away from this.
Yeah.
I gotta, let's go somewhere else. And then I'll just access that memory of me and my buddy just drinking for the first time, like at a bar, which is
Yeah.
really meaningful to me, or me playing with my friends when I was like 8. Or then I'll go and I'll think of the future. Who am I gonna be? What am I gonna be
Mhm.
like? And that's definitely too much of that is bad.
Mhm.
But when you're in pain, man, you got to do whatever you can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I mean though. Like you can only be in the moment for so long, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. Like this is too hard.
Yeah.
What's going on? I'm just gonna be miserable now. Like
Yeah.
I don't think the professional runners stay positive the whole time.
No, they don't.
It's so useful while you can, but there's a point where it's like
It's impossible. You can't maintain that attitude the whole
Mhm.
time. Sure, maybe you can talk about maintaining a positive attitude. Like I can sit here right now and tell you just like a million different things to be thankful for in life, but there's a certain time where my energy is going to deplete and I won't feel it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what's next though. And that's kind of like I'm discovering a bit of it every race, but
Yeah.
it's a huge learning experience.
Gratitude is definitely proliferates me
Oh yeah.
a lot. Yeah. Just like being thankful for the race itself,
Mhm.
being thankful to be alive, to feel, to be able to move freely, to heal. That's
Yeah.
what definitely adds. I get into those thoughts a lot to get me through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bad though. Like there's a point I was not grateful at all. I was like, man, this race organizer's evil. Like, come on, I'm just trying to do 100 miles here.
Yeah.
Why so many hills?
Yeah.
All these downhills now might
Like the lake. Why did they have to make us cross the river, man? Just like
Yeah.
how slippery was that?
I was getting so resentful at some point.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And I'm sure people who have you heard of the Divide 200?
No.
It's a 200-mile race.
Yeah.
I think they're running like between Alberta and BC. They've got to be miserable, right?
Oh,
They're
dude.
just still going though.
They're going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fascinating they'd probably have the same realizations as us. You know?
Yeah,
Where it's like,
probably.
okay, this is kind of the continuum of human emotions, kind of the duality of happiness and sadness, contentment and discontentment, just love and then rage, or love and hate. And it's just experiencing the array of human emotions and not using that as an excuse to just put other people down. Because certainly that's what a lot of people do. They feel that emotion. They go, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I put this person down because I'm feeling that way? Certainly when I feel that way, I'll still talk positively. You know, I could be going through just a very burdensome time, just mentally afflicted, but I could be talking to someone and talking to them about gratitude, you know, or I could be very resentful in my head. Oh man, I'm not going to finish. Life sucks. I hate myself. I hate everyone. But I could be like, hey, how's your run? You know, give them a smile. Good job. Right? Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. Eh?
Fake it till you make it. But yeah, bro. Dude, we're almost at 2 hours.
Oh, are we really? That's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have any last words for the listeners and viewers?
No, like, I think I got it all out about running. So yeah. Hey, well, thank you, Advin.
Yeah,
dude. This is a good time.
I appreciate you, man. I think when I first met you, I'm like, this guy is so positive, bro. Like, he's so
dude. I'm miserable in my mind though.
On the person that's not training at all, he seems to be well adjusted. Like, I wonder what kind of elixir he's kind of consuming. So.
Yeah, I was actually happy though when, like, at the point during the race where we met, I was still happy. But later on the race, it was
yeah. But yeah, dude, I think I'm excited to see which races you're gonna run, kind of the PRs that you're gonna break, and kind of the self discoveries. And you need to come back, man. I got no one else to talk to about ultras, bro. No one else gets it. Yeah.
No, we've got to keep each other updated.
Yeah, man.
We can do relays too.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be dope.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, we'll get your buddy Jack and my friend, a bunch of my friends too. And yeah, those relays, man. We'll convince someone.
Yeah. Well, there's like Ethan, my friend. He was pacing me, and I'm sure he would hop in for a relay.
Dope. Was he there with you in the homestead?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Oh. He's probably never seen me more pissed off ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's the last loop.
Yeah. But as always, to everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope, strengthen your faith, and keep it long term. Jaden Bissonnette Demers. Everyone. Peace.